everybody. Welcome to another GalaxyCon Live where we are bringing the convention experience into your home. And today we're going to be joined by some of the incredible cast of My Hero Academia. And since this is a Q&A, I urge every one of you watching right now to come up with whatever questions you may have. So now is your time. Start typing them in. And I know you guys have already submitted some incredible questions, so we're going to get to some of those in just a little bit. I also want to remind you there are still opportunities to purchase group chats, one-on-one chats, and autographs. So all you have to do is visit GalaxyCon.com to get any of those options. So I think that we're ready to begin. So let's bring on our very first guest. It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you Felecia, Angelle. I hope I kind of said that right.
Sure, Felecia, Angelle. Hello, it's so nice to be here.
It is so nice to meet you virtually. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so honored that I get to sit with all of you guys. So why don't you tell us before we begin which character you are?
I am the voice of Toru, the Invisible Girl.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right, well, why don't we bring out the very next guest? Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to the stream at this time, we have David Matranga.
Hi, hey everybody. How's it going?
How you doing, David?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, hanging in there.
That's all that matters. So why don't you tell us about your character from My Hero Academia?
I play Shoto Todoroki. So that's who I'm working with.
Very epic and awesome.
Yes.
All right. Introducing next to the stream, we have Jamie Marchi.
Hey.
How you doing, Jamie?
I'm good. Can't complain.
Perfect. And what about your character from My Hero?
I play Mount Lady.
Ooh.
Mount Lady.
She's very large at times.
Awesome. All right. And to round out our panel, we are joined right now by Luci Christian.
Yay.
Hello.
I love that.
Hi, everybody.
Dramatic. All right, Luci, what character are you?
Well, I am Ochaco Uraraka.
Woo!
I love that.
Yeah, isn't that sweet? I love her so much.
Where did you get her from? Did you get her at a convention or what?
At a con, a wonderful fan made her for me, and she usually hangs out in my booth as kind of just good juju. You know?
I love that so much. I feel like My Hero has the best fans.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So before we get things started, I just need to make note that Gabe was unable to join us for the stream, but I just want to let everyone know that we have plenty of My Hero Academia panels coming up, so I'm sure Gabe will be joining us in the future, and I like this stance. All right. So let's get started with this. So one of my favorite things to ask actors is about their process when they're getting ready to go into the booth. And I know some people like to use tongue twisters, or they'll warm up in their car singing a song. So I want to know, do you guys have any like really good tongue twisters that you can teach us?
Man, I feel like I just use the standards. You need New York, unique New York, red leather, yellow leather.
You know New York, you need New York, you need unique New York is such a good one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I like to do the Yui Gooey was a worm. Do you know that one?
What's that one?
It's a really good, like it works up your whole face. My grandpa used to say it. Ooey Gooey was a worm, and a mighty worm was he. He crawled across the railroad tracks, but the train he did not see. Ooey Gooey!
Gooey, gooey.
And now we all want to do that.
And do you guys ever like listen to a particular song to get you into the mindset of your characters before you guys record?
It depends on the show, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
Go ahead.
Yeah. It depends on what character I'm playing. Sometimes maybe I'm going to be listening to Metallica. Other times, maybe Disney. It just depends.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, and it depends on, like, you know, some characters I'll associate with some type of music. Some I won't have an instinct about music at all. But if I do, then whatever music like feeds that character, or I would think that character would listen to, maybe, but it's not something it's not like the first thing I go to.
So I use the same album for many things. It's always kind of a go-to thing for me because it always makes me happy. Jimmy Eat World is one of my favorite artists.
Classic.
And it always makes me happy. I get so happy singing The Middle and just all these songs. I love them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I use music in different ways, but I got super excited when I got cast as Toru because I love a pun. I love a dad joke just with my whole heart. And so I can only remember 2 right now, but I made a Toru playlist, and my top 2 songs were Invisible by Clay Aiken and He Doesn't See Me by Sarah Brightman.
Yes. Nice. Very nice.
That's perfection.
He doesn't see me.
So, okay, Lucy, so we already saw the little doll version of your character. So do any of you guys collect anything else, either My Hero related or maybe just in general? Are you guys collectors of anything?
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. If it's a figurine of something I voiced, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, if it's something that I voiced, I like if I'm at a convention or something and I see it or I'm online, I'll definitely get it.
Mhm.
I do like stickers, or buttons. So like if there's buttons of characters that or shows or whatever, I'll definitely buy those.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about you?
I collect old VHS tapes.
Nice.
A lot of them are left over from my childhood, but I raid up. My husband hates it, by the way. Absolutely hates how much space they take up. But I'll go to thrift stores and stuff and just pick up old copies of movies that I like and watch them on a tiny little VCR TV combo.
Oh, I love that.
That's
I love
awesome.
that.
Okay, so how about this question? What 3 words would you guys use to describe your characters from My Hero?
Ooh.
David, do you want to start us out?
Sure. I think 3 words. Oh, he's such a complicated is one. Literal is another. He's not totally clued into nuance. Like he's kind of like Drax in that way, which is just really funny. I think like that's where his comedy comes from that. So complicated, literal, and I'm gonna go with this: caring. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. What about you, Jamie?
Big booty powerhouse. That's what I'm going with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big booty
I mean,
powerhouse.
it presents itself, really.
Man, I should have said big booty powerhouse for Todoroki.
I know. Now
Really-
Right.
You can have that forward. We've got
But
it.
I have to say, David, the way you were talking about the Drax thing, in the literal,
Yeah.
your delivery is so truthful, is what makes it so funny, right? You're not playing the joke, you're playing the
Right.
truth. That's what
Right.
makes it so good. I just
Dude,
want to.
thanks.
It's so good at that.
Thank
That's
you.
hard.
It's hard. Yeah, that's nice to hear. Yeah. Yeah. Some of the last stuff, like with the character or the arc where they're trying to teach these kids, like I had to be so just like deadpan, like just literal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so good. Yeah.
What about you, Felecia? 3 words.
Gosh, I would say enthusiastic, heart forward. It's hyphenated, so it's 1. And transparent. That's the
Very
whole
good.
Sorry, guys, I can't
Never
stop.
get tired of that, Felecia. I will never.
Ever stop punning. Ever.
We love good puns. And what about you, Lucy?
Oh gosh, I think Ochaco is loyal and positive. She's really positive, and determined. That's what I would say. I think she could very easily like fall into the, oh, she's the kind of goody of girl. But she is more determined than that. You know, she makes some surprising choices, and I really like that about her.
Awesome. All right, so before we get into some of the fan questions, I guess my final question for you, obviously now we're living in this virtual world, but before everything moved online and we were at conventions, I feel like My Hero was so epic because we always saw so many incredible cosplays. People go all out for these My Hero cosplays. So what is it like for you guys to see your characters materialized and being like, walking around the convention floor? Like, what is that feeling like for all of y'all? Whoever wants to go first.
I don't mind saying it's kind of the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It is so cool. And now even virtually, like with TikTok, where they'll take our voice and the cosplayers will like reenact a scene in our voice. It is so cool and so creative. And of course, cosplayers anyway, the talent and skill that they have is always mind-blowing to me. So yeah, the more the merrier. I freaking love it. Love it, love it.
Yeah, agreed. I've been in this industry for a minute, and I've never personally had a show like My Hero happen. So it is really wonderful to be a part of such a show with, I mean, such a fantastic cast. Everybody is great. And it's something that I think we all love. It's a show we all love. It's easy to love. And it's really great to be encouraged by and encourage other kids and people who are dressing up. I always try to find all the Ochacos at cons and take my picture with them and put them on Instagram and stuff. Because I think if there's ever a show that you can identify with somebody and dress up and be somebody great, it's this show. Even the villains are awesome. They're great.
Right?
Maybe especially the villains.
I love a villain. Like sometimes I'm like, I want to be Toga. You know, I mean.
For me, it's always crazy because I get people sending me like really just feats of ingenuity of cosplaying an invisible character. And I've had people come up at cons with like mannequins on dollies with just like black leotards around the suit, and they're just like walking around.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So creative. And I think, I don't know, just to have a level of love for something that inspires that kind of creativity, it's really awesome to be a part of, and a little humbling to just be like, whoa, you did all of that because of a thing that we are all a part of.
Even if all of that is just wearing spandex, I'm like, what? You're wearing spandex!
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I second everything that everybody said. It's like it's the amount of effort and care and passion that goes into it. It's amazing to see. I was at Anime Expo a couple years ago, and I took a picture with like 15 Todorokis, like just all around, and it's so cool. It's cool that the show inspires people in so many different ways. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing for sure.
I would say too that we get excited for each other too as voice actors. So if we see a particularly great cosplay of someone, we'll take a picture and text it to each other.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember seeing my favorite Todoroki was a standard poodle, and half of it was dyed red, and I messaged it because I was like, look at this dog.
Yes. Yeah.
Todoroki.
I did the same thing. I think I saw this dog in an All Might, like amazing All Might suit, and just texted it to Chris. Like,
Yeah,
we
I need
love
to
it.
see more dog cosplays. This sounds fantastic.
Word, yes.
Pet cosplays.
Definitely.
All
My dog
right.
was always up there, so sorry about that.
All good. Well, I think at this time we're ready to take some fan questions. So why don't we get this first question rolling? This is from Savage Bunny. Is it hard to voice a teenager even as an adult?
There are adults here.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that.
Not. I mean, it depends. Some of us were born with kind of weird voices. And that's just true. Like, some of us are born with voices that didn't deepen the way other people's did, or whatever. Like, I don't know if you guys know. I know David does. Hillary Haig has a voice that I've never heard before.
I know. So unique.
I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, all of us,
Yeah.
I think, are just fortunate to get more voices the way we do.
Yeah, I think too. A lot of us have been in the industry since we were young, and we're very close to that age when we started. And so I've played more teenagers in my career than I have people my own age, easily, by far. And so it's kind of easy to keep that energy up. And I keep it up in my own life too, just day to day. I think that's, the energy and the spirit you put forth. If it's youthful, it's youthful. And so if that's kind of how you live your life, it's a lot easier to play ridiculous when you are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I feel very much the same way, where I just feel really connected still to those years of my life, and even those sort of childhood years and all of that time where everything is transformative, everything is new, everything is heightened because you don't have the breadth of experience yet for it to not be the biggest deal that has ever happened to you. And so, that combined with just sort of being still youthful in spirit, I think makes it pretty easy to access those things.
Yeah.
And now I have to pay taxes, so.
Yeah, if there's anything that's like preteen, teen, spooky, Felecia and I message each other about it. Oh my gosh, this blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, same for me.
There's a new book I have to tell you about.
Oh, yeah, for me, it's all about, like, I never lost this playful, crazy, quirky, weird part of myself. So, I access that I think in all characters. And I don't really think about the voice necessarily when especially when I'm voicing someone much younger than I am, a teenager, or I just think about the frame of mind or whatever, and trust that some type of voice will come out. I just did. They did a reboot of Orphan, which was the first anime that I ever was in a long time ago, and they did this reboot. And in one episode, I played Orphan at his 18-year-old self, then his 10-year-old self maybe, and then his evil doll 10-year-old self, like killing doll. So I was having scenes with myself, like we'd go through and we'd do Orphan, regular Orphan, and then we'd go back and do young Orphan. So I watch these scenes now and I'm like, oh my God, it's me talking to me in two different voices. But they're so similar. It's weird. One does sound younger and I can't describe why, but yeah.
Is that not the most surreal thing to do? The first thing you ever did again now?
Oh my God, yeah.
Because same thing with Fruits Basket, and now it's back. And the first time I recorded it, it was like, have I gone anywhere in 2000?
I know.
It's cool, but it's like, because you could never do that in film. I'm not playing the same character that many years later.
Yeah, right.
But it is very surreal at the same time.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yep.
All right, let's get to our next question. This one comes from Mizuki. How would your My Hero Academia characters react if they found out they're in an anime?
I think Mount Lady would do Junko Enoshima poses. Confident in that.
Awesome. What do you think, David?
I just think Todoroki would probably shake his head and go eat some soba and really have no reaction to it. I think he would think, I think he would have little to no reaction. Probably an internal reaction of that can't be good or something, like they're misrepresenting me or something like that.
Yeah. What do you think?
Gosh, I think Toru would be elated and want to see it, and then be absolutely scandalized by the scenes where she is completely invisible, and just couldn't believe that it got past the censors.
Okay. And Luci?
I think Ochaco would think that would be kind of exciting, but she would probably be trepidatious, nervous about how she's coming across, is what I'm guessing. She would like want the solidarity of numbers of hanging out with Deku and Ida and obsessing over if she was in her uniform, I mean her like hero outfit, that it's too tight and
Very fair. Now here's the follow-up question. How would all of y'all react knowing that you're in an anime?
Things might make more sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Academic anime, I would love for us to just be in one and it would be real life.
I would immediately want to see the opening and the closing. That would be my first.
Right there.
I need to know the song.
Yes.
Which of us is falling through the sky? Which one of us is running through the field?
Right.
Need to know.
Yeah.
Hot Springs episode. It's paying.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
Yep.
All right, here's the next question.
Silence.
This is from Sweet. So this is to all of you. How do you feel about your character now versus how did you feel about them the first time that you read for them? Who wants to start?
Gosh, it's hard because for me, anyway, so when we read for these, we're not just reading for the one character usually. I think I read for 4 in that first round. And so I try not to form attachments. You go in and you deliver each of them as truthfully as you can. You find a way to connect to them in the moment. And then I'm just like, because it may never happen. But Toru to me felt very much in sync with sort of who I am. She was bright. She was about her friends. She's the cheerleader, she's just there. And I feel like she's grown into that. And we've gotten to see that even more in these most recent episodes, even with the way she almost threatens her friends with encouragement to get out of their comfort zones, to show their talents. There was a scene where she just out and out sassed Bakugo in a way that felt very organic to my relationship with Jason. There was no acting in it at all. And so I'm finding more of those moments with her. And it's interesting to be like, you get sort of the outline of them in the beginning and you're like, yeah, I feel like we have some common ground. And then it keeps going and you're like, oh, we're the same. That's neat. Nobody saw that coming. Except Colleen. She probably did.
Except her.
How about you, Lucy?
I was not auditioning for new shows at that time, but I had heard, because, it records up in the Metroplex and I'm in Houston. And at the time I was trying to just kind of scale back just a little bit. But anyway, I was up there recording on One Piece. And the building was a buzz. I remember that audition because everybody was reading. Everybody was reading for that show. And I saw Ian Sinclair in the hall. And I was like, what's happening? And he goes, it's my hero auditions. You should audition. And I said, no, I'm not auditioning anymore right now. Just right now. And he was like, no, you should audition. And he gave me the weird Ian look. Like, you know what?
You're going to have to be more specific.
Yeah. What's the look?
It's like this weird, eyebrow, and you should okay.
Right.
No, I went and I was looking at the sides, and anyway, I ended up going to Colleen's office and being like, "Can I read for this one, please?" And like all of these other wonderful people, I read for a few different things. Ochaco is very much not hard, not a stretch. She is a safe place to land. I love her. And I also felt but you don't form attachments. You don't want to be disappointed. You just do your best and leave and hope for the best. And I'm glad the best happened.
And
Yeah. I was excited that I got Todoroki, and I at the very beginning I loved his quirks and what little I knew about him. But over those first 2 seasons, you got to see backstory. You got his family history, and so my care for him and for that character and my commitment to wanting to tell his story is definitely, has grown exponentially since I first, even since the first, few episodes of the first season.
Awesome.
I didn't actually audition for Mount Lady. There weren't sides for her. So I went and auditioned for other things, and then I was directed into the reads. And then when I was cast, it was like, oh, I, also big booty powerhouse, understood her on a different level. Also, and two, the other shows, the previous shows I think that I had worked for Colleen were Panty and Stocking, and I was Rhea Scrimmery in High School DxD. So it was like, oh, this falls into line with the characters. But what I love about Mount Lady as she grew is that she gets marketing, which I totally respect about her. Like, I think she knows what she needs to do, and she does it because she has a goal, and that's important. But I think the further it goes on into the story, you realize that she really is caring, and she really, really will sacrifice herself. She's just got a wall up to protect her feelers, and I want to know more about that. But she will go there if she needs to. She will be the hero. She's just really good at marketing herself as the hero too.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Here's the next question. I believe this is Jordan. If you could change the color scheme of your character's hero costume, what colors would you change it to? Oh boy.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
Who wants to go first? David?
Oh God. I'm gonna have to go with first instinct. So I would go like a dark purple, and I'm gonna make up a color, and I'm gonna call it a crimson orange.
Oh.
Ooh.
Wow.
We're going to contact Crayola for you. Get you an orange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
That's what I'm doing.
Who's next? Felecia?
Oh, we're going full Swarovski crystal, like a diamond. Just that the end of the Little Mermaid, that sparkly dress Ariel comes out of the water in. I want that level of bling. I want RuPaul to call her up and be like, tone it down.
That would take a lot of bling to get RuPaul to go, all right. Who's next, Jamie?
I would do, my instinct initially is to go to crimson and cream because I went to the University of Oklahoma, and so school spirit is still strong with me. But I do love the idea of this deep crimson red velvet instead of a spandex. You know what I'm saying? Just really soft and cushy.
I like that we're also getting materials too. We're adding.
Yeah, I can't think of color you can't think of the costume without material.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Maybe with the star, that star thing quality that's behind the velvet. You know what I'm saying? But deep red.
Awesome. Yeah. Lucy?
Well, I think, so one of the things I learned about Ochaco as the show went on was, remember the episode where we got to see everybody's rooms?
Yes.
Right? And you really got some fun insight into different people with their rooms. Ochaco was not a real girly girl, and her room was really plain. She's really just this sort of, I think, and when she got her costume, it was way different than what she expected. So I would actually imagine her in something more, I like the color purple, but definitely not something skin tight, something more like a jumpsuit, just a utility jumpsuit. That doesn't really sound right, but
functional,
yeah.
Super functional and relatively simple is what I think she would probably do for herself. I don't think she would think that much about it either. I think she would be like, oh, this works, and this is nice, and I like it, and it's comfy, and I can do this, so, okay.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Here is the next question. Okay, this is from Leo Hubbard. What is the most crazy or hilarious moments you've witnessed during voice acting, whether it was someone else doing or saying something, or if it was yourself?
I'm going to just go ahead and step out. I'm the worst at these. It all just blends in after a while. And like, there are funny moments, but like, I can't, I have like just a hard time picking out things. So I would say, I'm sure there are great ones. I spend a lot of time with Jeremy Inman, so it's a laugh riot. So
no, very fair. What you're saying is they're all great moments. Right?
Great.
Across the board. Well, if anyone has an answer.
Some of my most fun moments, it's not really like with show particular, but it's working with Jerry Jewell. He is very musically inclined. He's like the savant. He's amazing. He's a genius. And he knows the lyrics to every song ever. And so what I like to do is just sing one line randomly, maybe not at the beginning, just randomly of a musical or a pop song or something from the 70s. And he always picks it up and then we sing the song. It's so much fun.
That sounds awesome.
I think in this show too, I think Brina's performance as Minetta is underrated.
So good.
I
so funny.
I guffaw after most of those lines because it's hilarious about his sticky balls, whatever.
As this show has progressed, I've watched it and rewatched it and really become a fan of the show and a fan of people's performances. And I feel like Felecia too, like everything runs together. One of you guys mentioned Jerry and Jeremy Inman. Like, I love working with each director individually and the rapport that's created. And I have such a blast with those two people specifically too. But I totally forgot what I was going to say. I walked into a session for my hero, and I kind of was they were running over, and I walked in, and Josh Greeley was voice acting, and I had a moment where I was like, oh my god, he's doing it, he's doing the voice. Oh, there, like I was like having a like fanboy reaction hearing my friend do a performance. So like that was a fun moment to be like, oh my god, oh yeah, he's doing it live. I'm hearing it live. I was just excited.
I do have another story I normally tell, but I cannot tell it in mixed company.
We'll save it for the next one.
Yes.
All right. So I think we have time maybe for one or two more questions. So let's see what we got. This is from Dan. Have you ever pulled inspiration from someone you knew or a prolific figure when developing a voice?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Felecia, tell us more.
Yeah.
Like a lot of different ones. We've probably the newest one for me is becoming a little bit of a typecast, but I call it Baby Katharine Hepburn.
I want to hear it.
It's just absolutely, darling. They're tiny, and everything that they say is incredibly condescending. And you can hear an entire show of it if you watch Copcraft. It's just that. She's like lightly mid-Atlantic affected.
Yes.
And she hates you. And I love Katharine Hepburn. I love that like old Hollywood glamour and the like, and the Jane Russell just sort of like own a room feeling, but I look and sound like myself. So like it was a way to try to get that energy, but within a sphere that it doesn't feel like I'm putting on a thing. And then we also, Jeremy Inman and I do, we argue with each other as an old Midwestern couple. And we were doing that, and then a video became really popular that influenced it, where a man sneezes while his wife is watching a deer at the bird feeder, and he runs, and she goes, "Oh, nice run!" And that's how I get into that voice now.
I do quite a bit, and I steal from my friends. I'm totally okay doing that. In Danganronpa, I mentioned Junko. I played Junko, and I had to have 8 or 9 different voices. I definitely stole from Monica Rial and Michael Tatum, like 100%. I was like, this is mine now. And actually, in one of the recording, Monica walked by and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "That was me doing you." And she's like, "Don't ever do my work." I was like, but it was really fun. And then also for Mount Lady specifically, my inspiration for that voice, and I'll go really heavy with it in some shows and really light with it in others, but it's Samantha from Sex and the City. That's where her voice is.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
It depends for me. Like there's one specific that jumps out right now, at least. It's a show that Luci and I did. It's a trilogy of 3 films called Appleseed, and I believe the first one that we recorded was in the trilogy was the second one. So it was Appleseed Ex Machina. Was that it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that was the first time I was developing that character, and he's this amazing badass cyborg, but kind of can be a smart ass, can be, so the way that I would find it was Bruce Willis in Die Hard, like this sort of charming but one-liner, as he jumps off a building kind of thing. And that really helped me, instead of it being so serious, or it had that sort of Bruce Willis like wink in his eye as he was saying that stuff. So that's one that I remember specifically being like going and watching stuff and remembering that as I was working on it.
Awesome. Luci?
I do that, but the thing that came to mind first that was so funny was we had a director at a long time ago, not a long time ago, but Stephen Foster. It was a Stephen Foster show. And he straight up said, "Do you know who Nancy Grace is?" I don't know if you know who Nancy Grace is, but I said, "I do know who Nancy Grace is." He goes, "I see this reporter that I want you to play as Nancy Grace." And so it became very hard selling. Oh. How do you know that happened? I mean, anyway.
Okay, I'm innocent, Luci, I swear.
That was so funny. Yeah, I'm terrified. Yeah.
All right, so I think we might have time for one more question, but before we take this final question, make sure you guys go to GalaxyCon.com. We still have time for you guys to sign up for these group chats and the one-on-one chats and the autographs. So now is your chance to go to GalaxyCon.com. And here is our final question. This is from Cade. If you could say one thing to your character, what would it be? James? Or David, go for it, David.
Mine would be... don't be so hard on yourself. Try to stay out of your head.
Fair. Any other takers?
I'd be like, "Hey, can you fix my roof? We have some damage from some hail, and if you could just, while you're up there, just stick that on there, that would be yummy."
Awesome.
That's what I would go.
To get a little deep, if we're assuming that through our meeting she understands she is an anime character, I really would like to tell her that the thing that I hear most from people who watch the show is that they feel comfortable seeing themselves in her because she is not defined by the way that she looks. Her standout traits are her heart and her kindness and her enthusiasm, and that's what people connect to, and people who don't see themselves in media see themselves reflected in her.
That's awesome.
I love that.
That's the best answer. I love that answer.
I'm still going with my roof, but I like yours better.
Dude, roof is pretty great. Yeah.
They're expensive.
I like that.
Can you fix my roof?
I would tell Ochaco that it's okay. That her time will come. I feel like even, and I feel like sometimes we forget that these are high school kids. And that while they're trying to be these amazing heroes, they're also figuring out how to express their feelings, and it's super awkward. And I would encourage her in that way, that someday she's going to be able to do all of that, and it is going to be fine. You know, the world's not going to end if she says how she feels out loud about people, certain people, maybe.
It might end for completely different reasons, but not because of that.
Not because of that. That's right. That is probably not going to be it.
Well, unfortunately, we've reached our time. This went by way too quickly. So before we wrap this up, do you guys have any final thoughts or any projects that you guys are able to tell us about that you have coming up? Felicia?
Yeah, I'll shameless plug because I posted about it yesterday. I am in a new game that is free on Epic Game Store. It is a playable animated series called 3 out of 10. It is about the world's worst game studio. It's a little Adult Swim level humor, so age yourselves appropriately for that. But we're going to be releasing an episode a week through the first week of September, I think, and it's free. So go play it and support it.
Awesome. David?
I would just tell everybody thanks for caring about this series and all these characters, and I can't wait till we can all hang out in the same room and have a chat at some point.
Yeah.
We will soon.
I actually also free is I have a podcast with Michael Tatum, who's the voice of Tenya Ida, of course. And we tell ghost stories in the history of haunted locations. Ooh. It's called Ghoul Intentions, and you can get it on Spotify, iTunes, the website, ghoulintentions.com. And we're almost on our 100th episode. So
wow.
Pretty crazy. Yeah. And we have guest readers. So David and Felecia have read for us, and I told Luci to do it, so she's going to do it too. Coming up. So we always start with a ghost story, and we have somebody reading those ghost stories. So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. Luci?
I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for continuing on and watching. I mean, a pandemic is a nice time to watch a lot of anime. Yeah. That is just a truth. My own child, right now is into an old show that David and I did, Clannad.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
So, and my oldest daughter is watching it right now. She cosplayed as Nagisa today.
Wow.
And anyway, anime is just a connector, and it always has been. And I feel like this show just does that almost better than any of them. And we are appreciative to all of you fans, and we really, really can't wait to get out and see each other again and play.
Yeah, get out.
Good. But in the meantime, we have this,
and we're grateful.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate you guys joining us here. And so, of course, before we wrap this up, I just want to say, please visit GalaxyCon.com to check out all the upcoming events. We're announcing new events every single day, including more My Hero Academia events. So go to GalaxyCon.com. Thank you guys so much again. You were absolutely fantabulous. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.